Okay, yeah, reflecting on how to proceed. That's exactly what I was about to say. It's like these artificial starts and stops, right? Whether it's the end of the quarter, the end of the month, the end of the year, whatever, the end of the week even. It's always nice to have like a moment to reflect, but then it's like, oh yeah, back to work. Sorry, not today. Okay, cool. Is there any, since I know we don't have a ton of time, I know we're wrapping up. There's probably not going to be a ton for us to touch on specifically around support scope, but just want to give everyone an opportunity to share anything else, knowing that we do these on Fridays for a reason because all of the other ABC meetings happening throughout the week. Just any updates for this group to be aware of or things that we should talk about really quick that we've seen in the spirit of composability. And as an aside, while everyone's, I'm sure, thinking about it, I was just actually, Open Sky, you're like reading my mind. I was just going to say, it's been really cool to almost see like some new ABCs pop up and really like get up to speed really quickly too. I'm also loving kind of the increased focus on people participating both async and via text. I think it's really cool and something that is, I think other groups are just kind of struggling with right now. And I think it opens a lot of doors for more people to be able to not passively participate, but maybe not spend so many hours getting up to speed before they're able to be kind of helpful and effective. Nobody, nothing happened this week, nothing at all. That's a great question. I did see that we had some resignations. And on that note, like, is the process exactly the same? Like, how does tomorrow look for an ABC to either continue or, I mean, I think he just stepped down as a member. So like, does the ABC dissolve if the only member is stepping down? Got it. But if they both step down, does that just mean that the ABC no longer exists, or can other people step up as members? Got it. Okay. And on the flip side of, haha. The flip side of that, if we are to continue, like, do we just continue hosting these meetings and just start working on next quarter's amendments? This makes me realize how much I know that the documentation exists, and I am so grateful for all of you because I feel like I have to read less things because of this group. But I would, like, if we are to continue in this next quarter, like, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for summarizing and, yeah, just continuing in the vein of efficiency for getting people up to speed really, really fast. Because I do think that it is a significant time investment even still to get up to speed and to stay up to speed, because I know changes kind of like feel like sometimes they come out of nowhere. So maybe I'm a broken record, but I think it would be good to almost get some more like external communication going based on what we're learning on a week-to-week basis. Right. Yeah, I remember that was in theory supposed to be the case, but that's why I always ask, because I never know like when that is more of an oversight or like versus an explicit decision. Is everyone else staying on for the next quarter? Yeah, I feel that. I'm probably in the same position, especially since I know we were supposed to have a little bit more help or support. I know David like got kicked out and wasn't really able to join that many meetings, which would have been nice. But I am very grateful for this group. And is that on that note, because I saw, yeah, again, if people step down, I saw that there are like resignation posts and stuff, but if they're staying on, is that also like an explicit like post? I know, Blue, yeah. We really appreciate you. Love it. I agree. I also think it's still differentiated from the other groups. I would love to hear from more people. Is there a good like repository of information on who the ABCs are like bringing in externally across all of them? I know that was something we talked about in the early days in terms of not wanting to, bombard the same people over and over again without explicitly knowing, like, for example, pulling someone in who gave a presentation in another ABC meeting or getting the recording to it so that that person doesn't feel like kind of dragged around by all the different groups. Maybe that's also something that we could provide in terms of, I think, assets that can be shared would be good for Composable to kind of like take a lead on. Because I'm always very hesitant to like duplicate work. So I think some of that documentation would go a long way to either expose some of those gaps or highlight where we are doing a pretty good job across ABCs. Yeah, definitely. But even just like a running list of like the topics that are being covered and who's being spoken to across the groups, I think would also be awesome. Because at least in these early days, I mean, I know that was a big point of contention for us, which was, yeah, just how do we make everyone else, like, how do we make everyone's process more efficient? And by doing that, like making our own more efficient as well. And so I think we did a good job of making ourselves more efficient. And now maybe we can scale those learnings a little bit more. Yeah, it's also a question of like tooling and syncing. Because I know different groups are like using Zoom or using, text only or us like Discord stages and whatnot. And actually Gov Alpha was recording some of these calls in the beginning. But I think that fell off somewhere along the way. On that note, Blue, I know you put a really good like recap of learnings together. Open Sky, might be worth us also writing some more just recommendations for next quarter based on those learnings and reflections that we've done a little bit, and maybe even a couple of recommendations. I think everyone's kind of in reflection mode right now, so that might be helpful. And maybe we could get some of the other ABCs to pitch in some ideas as well. It's so funny. That was literally the first thing we tried to do, which was run a joke race, asking people where they felt like the gaps in our processes were. It was very early, and so I don't think people really had top of mind like where the friction points even were yet, because we were just getting started as a group, but I'm sure some things would come to mind now. But the idea there was like, how do we create a repository of some of those points across everyone? And then each group could wait and make changes themselves depending on what matters most to them, but just not having the ADs like give feedback in a bunch of different groups. Oh, great. Like automatically from Discord? Like this one is being recorded right now and is going to go on YouTube? Oh, sweet. That's awesome. Okay, cool. That's also nice too, because as we make some of these recommendations, like I'm always a fan of linking out to other supporting documentation as opposed to like replacing it. So yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll take the lead on writing down some of those learnings from this quarter and recommendations for next. Would welcome any and all additions. And then I think we can share it with the other ABCs. If they want to contribute, they're more than welcome to. If they don't, that's totally fine because we will have done it for ourselves. So I will do that. Is there anything else we need to do on the documentation? I think we're good. Like, I think we're all submitted and T's crossed, I's dotted. I would love that. I'm not a great DJ, but I would be more than happy to. I'd love to do some experimentation on that front, though, for sure. Okay, cool. Maybe we try that next week. Awesome. Okay, well, does anyone else have anything that they want to cover today? Otherwise, I think we should be really proud of the work that we've done this quarter. Obviously going to take some learnings into next, but yeah, like I said at the beginning, very grateful for all of the support and engagement. This has been a really fun experiment for me, and it's been fun doing with all of you. Okay, cool. All right. Well, have a happy Friday. And thank you once again for being the most efficient AVC. We are ending on time. Thanks, guys.